Location: near Gramicelle, Sicily. Date: July 15th, 1943, 1642 hours. The air over the Sicilian hills vibrates with heat, a hard, punishing heat that seems to sharpen every sound. Cicadas whine like tiny circular saws. Dust hangs in the air like flour. The sun beats down so fiercely that even the olive trees look exhausted. Then the whine of an incoming shell tears the sky apart. Incoming! Private Michael Caruso, Hastings and Prince Edward Regiment, the Hasty Peas, throws himself behind a low stone wall just as the German 88mm round slams into the ridge above him. The shockwave punches dust straight into his mouth and ears. For a moment, sound disappears completely, replaced by a high-pitched ringing that seems to come from inside his skull. When he lifts his head, everything is wrong. The stretcher team that had been moving wounded toward the rear is gone, replaced by a crater the size of a small truck. The evacuation route down the mule trail has collapsed into smoking rubble, and scattered across the ground like discarded equipment are men, still groaning or trying to crawl for cover. Caruso whispers, "Christ, they cut us off." Another shell whistles, another explosion. Shards of rock rain down like shrapnel. From behind a boulder, a voice shouts, "Medic! Medic on me!" That voice belongs to Sergeant Paul Laskin, senior NCO of the platoon. He's waving frantically, half-shielding a man whose leg is bleeding badly from the thigh. Caruso isn't the medic. He knows who is. Everyone knows. Private Samuel Sam Halpern, the quiet, sharp-eyed medical orderly from Toronto whose pack always seems heavier than everyone else's. Caruso looks over his shoulder. Sam is already moving. At a crouch, then a crawl, then a sprint. Bullets flick the dust around his boots as German machine guns open up from the opposing ridge. MG-42s, their rate of fire so fast it feels like ripping canvas. Sam zigzags, slides behind a low wall, then sprints again. He reaches Sergeant Laskin and drops to his knees instantly. "What have we got?" Sam asks, breathless but focused. "Arterial. He's losing it fast." Sam tears open the wounded soldier's trouser leg. Blood pulses upward in desperate, rhythmic spurts. He grabs for his medical pouch and stops dead. It's nearly empty. Most of his morphine was used during the morning push. His field kit was damaged by shrapnel. The last shelling knocked out the stretcher bearers carrying the spare equipment. Laskin sees it in his eyes. "No morphine?" he asks. Sam shakes his head. "No surgical needles?" Another shake. Laskin swears under his breath. The wounded man moans, a sound no man should make. Sam digs deeper into his pack. His fingers brush something small, wrapped in a piece of cloth. He unwraps it. A sewing needle. Standard issue for mending torn uniforms. He digs again, pulls out a bayonet, long and sharp. Laskin stares at him. "You're not serious." Sam meets his eyes. "You want him alive? This is what we've got." He reaches for his canteen, then winces when he remembers. Empty. He pulls a small, almost forgotten flask from his pouch. A rationed medic's bottle of field whiskey. Barely a quarter left. He looks at it, then at the wounded soldier. Laskin nods. "Do it." The first stitch. Sam splashes the whiskey onto the sewing needle, then onto the open wound. The wounded soldier screams, kicking against the pain, but Laskin pins his shoulders down. Sam's fingers work fast, trembling only from adrenaline, never fear. He uses the bayonet to widen the torn edges of the flesh, crude, brutal, necessary. Blood pours across his hands. The heat makes it sticky within seconds. Caruso watches from behind the stone wall, breath held. Sam threads the needle through the meat of the wound and begins stitching. Small, tight, improvised sutures under fire. This isn't battlefield medicine. It's madness. It's genius. It's survival. Another shell explodes. The ground bucks. Dust clouds billow. Sam doesn't look up. His voice is calm, focused, monotone. "Pressure bandage," he says. Caruso hands him one from Laskin's pouch. Sam ties it down, checks the pulse, moves on. There are more wounded, many more, and extraction is impossible until nightfall. The world shrinks to one job. By 1710 hours, the German artillery shifts to the next ridge. The platoon has temporary cover, not safety but breathing room. Sam crawls to the next casualty, a corporal with shrapnel lodged in his shoulder. The man's breathing is sharp and shallow. "What have you got?" Caruso asks. Sam looks at the wound. "Too deep. Bayonet." Caruso blinks. "You're going to cut it out?" Sam doesn't answer, because he already is. He pours the last of the whiskey onto the bayonet and slices the shoulder open with a precision that looks impossible under battlefield chaos. The corporal grits his teeth until they nearly crack. Sam digs out the metal fragment, drops it onto the dust, then uses the same sewing needle to close the wound. He has no morphine, no anesthetic, no sterile cloth, no real tools. Just a needle meant for uniforms, a bayonet meant for killing, and the sheer, unbreakable will to keep his men alive. "Next," he says. The heat, the flies, the whispers. Time stretches and buckles under the sun. The heat becomes a force of its own, a living thing pressing down on the men, shaking them, drying their lips until they split. Flies swarm, blood thickens. Every breath tastes of dust and cordite. Sam crawls from man to man, treating each. A machine gun loader with a chest gash, a scout with a torn forearm, a private whose ear was ripped off by shrapnel, a sergeant with glass embedded in his back. Each time the needle flashes, each time the bayonet cuts and cleans, each time the whiskey burns away just enough infection to hold death at bay. By the 20th casualty, Sam's hands are shaking from exhaustion. By the 30th, his knees buckle. By the 35th, he has to push flies away every few seconds just to see the wounds. But he doesn't stop. He won't. Because the evacuation route is still gone, and nightfall is still hours away. And if he falters, the platoon dies. Sergeant Laskin kneels beside him. "How many more can you take?" Sam wipes sweat from his eyes. "As many as I have to." In the distance, the sound of tank engines rumbles, German armor repositioning. The sky trembles with each explosion. And Sam Halpern, kneeling in the dust with only a sewing needle and a bayonet, prepares to save the next man. He breathes once, deep, steady, until a new sound cuts through the battlefield. Something that makes him freeze. A distant engine. Not German. Something else. Something coming toward them. Something that might mean hope. Location: Forward Ridge near Gramachel. Date: July 15th, 1943, 17:58 hours. It starts as a faint hum, almost lost beneath the distant rumble of German armor repositioning across the valley. At first, the men think it's just the heat playing tricks, the same shimmering delirium that makes the air pulse like a living thing. But then the hum deepens, grows, takes shape. Lance Corporal Rourke squints toward the south, his eyes burning from hours of dust and smoke. "Sam!" he calls. "You hearing that?" Sam Halpern looks up from the wounded corporal whose arm he's trying to splint with a broken rifle stock. Sweat pours down Sam's face, carving streaks through the grime. His fingers twitch involuntarily. They've been sewing, tying, cutting, pressing for nearly 2 hours straight. He hears it too now, a steady, rhythmic put-put-put echoing across the hills. Rourke whispers, "Truck engine?" Laskin answers, grim. "Could be ours, could be theirs." The sound comes closer. Then, a crackling burst of machine gun fire erupts on the far ridge, and a plume of smoke rises. The engine sputters, coughs, continues limping forward. Sam knows what this means. Whatever hope is coming, it's taking fire. He presses the splint down hard, ties the last strip of cloth, and moves to the next man. There is no time to wait for rescue. Only time to keep men alive until rescue arrives. The wounded keep coming. Private Danny Schuster stumbles toward Sam, dragging a limping soldier by the armpits. "Hit by mortar fragments," Schuster gasps. "He's losing it, Doc." Sam gestures to the ground. "Lay him down." He checks the wound, a deep gash in the lower abdomen, edges ragged, bleeding heavily. Schuster grimaces. "Sam, you don't have anything left." Sam knows. His whiskey flask is empty, his needle is bent at the tip, his bayonet is slick with blood. Yet he picks them up anyway. Rourke kneels beside him, holding the man down. "What are you going to use to disinfect?" Sam wipes his forehead. "The sun," Rourke stares. Sam explains quickly, voice strained. "UV kills bacteria. Not perfect, but better than nothing. Hold him still." He lifts the sewing needle into the sunlight until it gleams, a small, pitiful weapon against infection in a war that devours the unprepared. The wounded soldier moans weakly, hands trembling. Sam's voice softens. "Listen to me. I know it hurts. I know it's hell, but you're staying with us. Look at me. Right at me." The soldier forces his eyes open. Sam threads the needle and begins stitching. Every pull of the thread draws a gasp from the man. His fingers dig into the dirt. His boots kick. Rourke has to pin his legs down. The heat intensifies, the air shimmering as if trying to set the scene itself on fire. Sam doesn't look away, doesn't pause, doesn't allow himself to feel the horror of what he's doing. Because for 40 men, he is the thin line between survival and death. And that line is wearing thin. The battlefield turns into a furnace. The sun sinks lower, not cooler, but angrier. It paints everything in molten orange. The stones glow like they've been sitting inside a kiln. The dust becomes choking powder. Sam's world shrinks further. Thread, skin, blood, dust, heat. He finishes the suture, moves to the next man and the next. Caruso approaches, panting, holding his arm. "Doc, I think I got hit." Sam stands, dizzy for a moment. His knees threaten to collapse, but he forces himself upright. He steps toward Caruso, whose sleeve is soaked in dark blood. Sam cuts the fabric with the bayonet. A long gash along the bicep, deep but survivable. Sam nods. "Sit, I'll close it." Caruso shakes his head. "No, others first." Sam grabs him by the collar and pushes him down. "You're a rifleman. If you go down, we lose firepower. You're next." Caruso lowers himself, ashamed but grateful. Sam threads the needle again. Behind him, Laskin shouts, "More wounded incoming!" Sam grits his teeth. They're running out of everything. Bandages, clean cloth, whiskey, strength. But not time. Time keeps moving forward mercilessly. The enemy shifts tactics. On the opposite ridge, the German machine guns fall silent, not because they ran out of ammo, because they're repositioning. Rourke scans with binoculars. "Oh no. Oh hell no." Laskin turns. "What?" "They're bringing up a mortar team." The Germans are preparing to saturate the Canadian position with indirect fire, to finish what the artillery started. Sam hears the words but forces himself not to react. If fear takes over, he won't be able to hold the needle still. He examines the next man. A facial wound, forehead split open by a falling stone, blood mixing with sweat. Sam says, "It's shallow. I can close it quickly." The soldier breathes heavily. "Doc, are we gonna make it?" Sam responds simply, "Yes, because I'm not letting you die." He begins stitching again. The needle pierces, the skin tightens, the heat bears down on him like weight. Overhead a German mortar thumps, the round sails high. Every man tenses as it comes down. It explodes well short of their position, but the next one will land closer, and the next closer still, and the next closer than that. Sam's hands shake. He presses his palms into the dust until the tremors stop. He must not fail them. He cannot fail them. Hope arrives on fire. Rourke suddenly shouts, "Truck! Canadian truck!" Sam looks up. Through the shimmering heat, a battered CMP 8-city-watt truck crawls toward them on the mule trail, tires nearly shredded, windshield cracked, engine coughing smoke. 3 soldiers cling to the back, waving frantically. It's a forward medical relay team, risking their lives to breach the bombardment zone. But the Germans see the truck too. Machine gun fire erupts. Holes punch through the truck's side panels. One trooper falls off the back, hitting the dirt hard. The truck shudders but keeps going. Sam stands, adrenaline forcing strength back into his legs. "They're coming for us," Rourke mutters. "Holy hell, they're actually coming for us." Laskin shouts, "Get ready! Cover them!" Every man who can still hold a rifle scrambles into firing position. Sam grabs Caruso's rifle and hands it to him. "Shoot straight," Sam says, "and stay alive!" The wounded groan. The ground shakes. Mortars thump from the ridge. The truck barrels forward, weaving through shell holes. Sam kneels beside his patients, shielding them with his own body as bullets and shrapnel rake the earth. He closes his eyes as one thought anchors him. Just survive until they get here. Just hold on. Just keep them breathing. When he opens his eyes, the truck is only 40 yards away. 30. 20. 10. And then, a mortar round lands directly in front of the truck. The world becomes fire. The truck vanishes in a cloud of smoke and dust. Sam's heart stops. Silence after the explosion. For a moment, the entire battlefield seems to hold its breath. No one moves, no one speaks. The smoke drifts slowly, lazily, as if mocking the urgency of the moment. Then, a figure stumbles out of the cloud, coughing violently. Then another, and another. The medical relay team survived the blast. They're coming. They're running. They're alive. And Sam knows exactly what that means. He might finally have tools. He might finally have medicine. He might finally have help. But first, he must reach them. Before the next mortar falls. Location: Forward Ridge near Gramicelle, Sicily. Date: July 15th, 1943, 1821 hours. The blast that swallowed the truck still hangs in the air, a choking mix of dust, smoke, and shattered earth. The mule trail is a cratered ruin, the edges glowing faintly from burning brush. Dirt rains down in slow motion, pattering against helmets and rifles like dry hail. But through the smoke, silhouettes emerge. They're moving. They survived. Sam Halpern doesn't waste a heartbeat. He drops the half-empty bandage roll and sprints uphill toward the remains of the medical truck. His legs scream with every step. His vision pulses with bursts of black. His throat feels like it's packed with wool and sand. But he runs, because that truck means supplies, and supplies mean life. Mortar tubes thump again on the opposite ridge. Sergeant Laskin bellows, "All riflemen, cover the medics! Lay down fire!" The Canadians open up in a desperate fury. Lee Enfield bolts slam forward. MG bursts rip dust from the German hillside. Every man still capable pulls a trigger. Not to win a firefight. Not to take ground. Just to buy Sam seconds. Precious seconds. The survivors of the blast. Corporal Danny Reed, one of the relay medics, stumbles forward first. His tunic is ripped open, exposing burns along his ribs. His left eyebrow is gone, scorched clean. Behind him, Private Morris drags a canvas satchel that clinks when it hits the rocks. Sam reaches Reed, grabs the front of his tunic. "Supplies? Did you bring surgical kits?" Reed shakes his head, coughing blood. "Ambush on the outskirts. They hit us hard. We lost half of it, but—" He points to Morris. "There's morphine, and disinfectant, and sutures." Sam nearly collapses with relief. But another mortar whistles overhead. "Down!" he screams. All 4 men drop as a shell detonates 20 yards behind them, showering them with hot stones. Sam grabs the satchel from Morris and yanks it open. Inside, 2 small vials of morphine, 1 tin of sulfa powder, 1 bottle of iodine tincture, several sealed pouches of suture needles and thread, a partially intact scalpel. It feels like a treasure chest sent from heaven. Sam looks at Reed. At least one good thing happened today. Reed coughs again, then forces out a crooked smile. We heard you were cut off. Command told us, if anyone can keep them alive, it's that Halpern kid, so we drove. Sam's chest tightens. He's too exhausted for pride, but the words mean something. He slings the satchel over his shoulder. Let's move. Now. The run back. The trip back to the wounded platoon feels twice as far. Sam's boots slip on loose gravel. His breaths come in raw, painful gasps. Mortar smoke stings his eyes. German machine guns spatter the rocks near his feet. But he doesn't stop. Behind him, Reed and Morris stagger along, half running, half falling, while Canadian rifles hammer out suppressive fire. Sam leaps the last rock ledge and slides into the improvised casualty area, a sunken hollow protected by boulders and the remains of a stone wall. Laskin is there, sweat pouring off his face. "Tell me you got something!" Sam drops the satchel between them. Laskin exhales in awe. "You beauty! You actually did it!" Sam shakes his head. "I haven't done anything yet." He kneels beside the next wounded man. "Let's get to work." The first real medicine in hours. "Corporal Ivan Turner," Laskin says. "Shrapnel to the abdomen, fading fast." Sam flips open the suture kit. Real surgical needles glint in the fading light. He draws the morphine syringe. Turner's voice trembles. "Doc, I can't take it anymore." Sam's tone softens. "You're going to feel relief in a second. Just breathe." He injects the morphine. Turner's shoulders relax. Then Sam cleans the wound with iodine. Turner winces. The pain is real, but nothing like before. Sam pulls out the bent sewing needle he used earlier and tosses it aside. He threads the new sterile surgical needle. His hands steady instantly, like a pianist switching from a damaged keyboard to a perfectly tuned one. He sutures, fast, precise, confident. Turner whispers, "Feels better." Sam nods. "Good. Then stay with me." A sudden crisis. Private Bell, lying nearby, begins gasping, a wet, rattling sound. Caruso calls out, "Doc! Bell's chest wound! It's collapsing!" Sam rushes over. Bell's right lung isn't inflating. Air is trapped in his chest cavity. Tension pneumothorax. If Sam doesn't act now, Bell will die in minutes. "Need a needle, a long one," Sam mutters. Reed hands him a small metal case. "Chest decompression kit?" Reed shakes his head. "No, that burned in the truck explosion. But..." He hands Sam a thick gauge needle from the stitching pack. It's not ideal, but it could work. Sam sterilizes it with iodine, wipes sweat from his brow, and positions the needle between Bell's ribs. Caruso looks away. Laskin watches, jaw tight. Sam pushes. Bell screams, a raw animal sound. Then, a burst of trapped air hisses out. Bell's chest rises, falls, rises again. Sam exhales shakily. He's stable. Next. The officer arrives. Footsteps crunch on the stones. A shadow looms. It's Lieutenant George Breitling, platoon commander, dust-covered, one arm in a sling. He looks at the scene. 20 injured men. Sam stitching, cutting, treating, directing. Breitling whispers, "My God. Is this all you, Halpern?" Sam doesn't look up. "Sir, unless you brought an entire hospital, I need you on perimeter duty." Breitling blinks, surprised, then impressed. He nods. "Aye. You have command of the wounded area." Sam replies, "Then let me save them." The hour drags on. As the sun sinks behind the hills, the battlefield transforms. Shadows crawl across the rocks. Smoke turns purple in the last light. Flies grow sluggish. The heat finally begins to break. For the first time, the air feels almost breathable. Sam works faster. He checks pulses, closes wounds, applies sulfa powder, wraps bandages tight. He uses the last morphine ampules sparingly, half dose for one man, quarter dose for another. Caruso brings him a canteen from Morris, barely a third full. Sam looks at it, then hands it to the worst casualty. "I'm fine," he says. He isn't. He hasn't had water since morning. But Sam Halpern isn't thinking about himself. Not now. Not yet. The German mortars fall silent. Then something strange happens. Rourke peers through binoculars. "Sir," he calls to Laskin, "they're pulling back." Laskin frowns. "No reason. They were pinning us down." "They're moving their mortar teams, packing up." Sam hears it too, the change in rhythm. No more thumps, no more distant blasts, only the crackle of dying fires. Breitling approaches, breathing heavily. "Word from battalion. The Princess Pats are pushing their flank. Germans are withdrawing from this ridge. We may get extraction sooner than expected." Caruso lets out a long, exhausted laugh. Sam's hands pause mid-suture. He doesn't lift his head, but his shoulders loosen just slightly. Laskin crouches beside him. "You did it, Sam." Sam shakes his head. "They're alive, but we're not done." He ties off the final stitch on Private Bell's chest wound. Then he stands, slowly, stiffly, and wipes the blood from his forearms. "Tell me who's next," he says. But before anyone can speak, a flare shoots into the sky from the valley below. Bright white, hissing, falling slowly. Extraction signal. It's happening. They're going to get out, if they can survive the march. Location: Forward Ridge, Extraction Valley Route. Date: July 15th, 1943, 1904 hours. Night doesn't fall in Sicily. It descends, like a heavy curtain dragged across the sky by an unseen hand. What little breeze exists moves in short, uneven breaths, carrying the smell of cordite, burnt brush, and blood. The white flare still hangs above the valley, drifting downward like a dying star. Extraction is coming. But the wounded aren't at the valley floor. They're here, on a shattered ridge littered with shell holes, burning bushes, and bodies. And dozens of them can't walk. Lieutenant Breitling exhales, steeling himself. "We move in 5 minutes. Every pair of hands carries someone." Sergeant Laskin nods. "You heard him. All walking wounded. Help the boys who can't." Sam Halpern wipes dust from his cracked lips and looks at the wounded men surrounding him. 43 soldiers. 43 lives he kept from slipping into the dirt. But saving them is only half the fight. Now he has to move them. Sam crouches next to Corporal Ivan Turner. "How's the pain?" Turner, still half drugged on morphine, gives a delirious grin. "I'd marry you if you asked, Doc." Sam smirks weakly. "Save your strength. We're getting out of here." He signals to Caruso and Rourke. "Lift him carefully. Keep the stitches covered." They nod, sliding hands beneath Turner's shoulders. Sam moves on, checking each man rapidly. Is the bandage secure? Is the bleeding controlled? Is he conscious enough to move? Is he stable enough to be carried? It's battlefield triage on the edge of collapse, the kind they don't teach in manuals. The Germans aren't gone, just watching. On the far ridge, the Germans have mostly withdrawn, but not all. Silhouettes linger in the darkness, watching, rifles in hand. A strange, tense quiet fills the valley, the kind that feels less like peace and more like two predators circling with mutual exhaustion. Rourke glances over. "You think they'll fire on us, Doc?" Sam shakes his head slowly. "No, they've had enough. So have we." Indeed, some of the distant German silhouettes dipped their helmets, not in surrender, but in something closer to respect. They saw the triage. They saw the mad medic stitching men together with a sewing needle and a bayonet. Even enemies recognize madness when they see it. And courage. The descent begins. Breitling raises his good arm. "All right, move out!" The platoon begins its slow, agonizing descent. The mule trail is a broken staircase of rubble and loose stone. Men slip, boots twist, A groan echoes every few steps. Sam hunches under the weight of Private Bell, the man with the collapsed lung. Bell clings weakly to Sam's shoulder, breathing shallow, painful breaths. Sam whispers, "Stay awake. Every step you take is one less I'm carrying." Bell gives a faint nod. Behind them, Laskin carries a man twice his size, grunting with every step. Caruso supports a soldier with a bandaged thigh, half carrying, half dragging him. Reed, one of the surviving relay medics, limps badly but refuses to stop moving. The platoon becomes a single human chain of battered bodies, each pulling the next. The heat still has fangs. Even at dusk, the heat hasn't fully died. Down in the valley, it radiates upward, a furnace in reverse. Sam feels it rise against his face, drying sweat into salt crusts. The air tastes metallic, like sucking on pennies. He stumbles once, catches himself, keeps walking. Breitling, watching him, murmurs, "Halpern, if you collapse—" Sam interrupts. "I'll collapse at the bottom, sir. Not before." Ambush? No, something stranger. Halfway down the ridge, a rustle stops the column. Weapons snap up. Even the wounded grab rifles. Figures move among the rocks ahead. Shadows, shapes. Laskin whispers, "Germans?" The shapes step into the fading light. Not Germans. Sicilian civilians. A small group, 3 women, 2 older men, a teenage boy, carrying buckets, blankets, and clay amphorae. One woman steps forward, eyes filled with a mix of fear and pity. She speaks in rapid Sicilian dialect. Breitling shakes his head. Sam steps forward. "I don't speak it well," he admits, "but I think she's saying, 'water.'" The woman nods vigorously, then lifts the clay amphora and tips it, offering it to Sam. Inside, dark, lukewarm water, but water. Sam's hands tremble as he takes it. He looks at the woman, her expression fierce, urgent, maternal. "Thank you," he whispers. She touches his arm gently, as if blessing him. The Canadians line up, every man getting a mouthful or two. Sam refuses more than a sip. Bell tries to push the water toward him. "You need it more than me." Sam shakes his head. "I'll drink when you do." Bell laughs weakly. "Then you'll die first." Sam grins tiredly. "Not today." The final stretch. The valley floor is close now. The extraction point lies beyond a grove of lemon trees, dimly lit by another flare. Men lower their burdens. Men fall to their knees. Men cry quietly, letting the first cool wind brush their faces in hours. But Sam keeps moving. He checks every man again. Are they breathing? Are their wounds reopening? Are they slipping into shock? Reed puts a hand on his shoulder. "Sam, you've done enough." Sam shakes him off gently. "I'll stop when they're on the trucks." The first transport appears, a British Bedford, engine idling, tailgate open. Breitling calls, "Get the worst inside first." Laskin helps Turner aboard. Caruso pushes Bell up the ramp. Rourke assists 2 men with head wounds. Sam climbs onto the truck bed and organizes the wounded like puzzle pieces, ensuring they can lie flat, breathe, and not crush each other. Bell whispers, "Thank you, Doc." Sam brushes his shoulder. "Save it. You'll need your breath." One last patient. As Sam jumps down, a hand grabs his sleeve. It's Reed, the blast-burned medic.
"Doc, your arm!"
Sam looks. His sleeve is soaked deep red. He hadn't noticed. He pulls the fabric aside, shrapnel embedded near the shoulder. Reed smirks. "You finally get to be the patient." Sam exhales. "I don't have time." Reed pulls out the last iodine bottle. "You do now." Sam sits on a stone, exhausted, swaying slightly. Reed sterilizes the bayonet, returning Sam's own madness to him with a grin. "This is for poetic justice," Reed jokes. Sam closes his eyes as Reed digs out the shrapnel. He doesn't scream, not even once. When it's over, Reed bandages it tightly. "You did it, Sam." Sam shakes his head, eyes unfocused. "No." We did. Breitling calls from the truck. "Halpern, move! We're rolling out!" Sam stands, shoulder aching, legs quivering. He climbs aboard. The engine rumbles. The truck moves. And the ridge, the place where he saved more men than any medic should ever have to, fades into darkness behind them. Location: Extraction Convoy. South of Gramachel, Regimental Aid Post. Date: July 15th, 1943. 21:12 hours. The convoy rattles along a dusty Sicilian farm road, engines groaning under the weight of exhausted men and overloaded stretchers. The night air is finally cool, merciful, gentle, almost tender compared to the sun that tried to kill them all day. But inside the truck bed, the air is thick with the quiet agony of the wounded. Low groans, labored breaths, the soft rattle of metal canteens hitting the truck's wooden slats, the slap of boots against the floor whenever the vehicle shudders. Sam Halpern sits wedged between two wounded soldiers, his back against the truck wall. His clothes are caked in dried blood, some his, most not. His eyes half closed, but every bump jolts him awake. Across from him, Sergeant Laskin watches carefully. "Don't pass out, Sam." Sam forces his eyes open. "I'm awake." He isn't, but he will be, because they're not safe yet. The truck rounds a bend, jolting violently. Several wounded cry out. Sam immediately shifts, checking bandages, tightening slings, adjusting a soldier's head to make sure he can breathe. His hands tremble, but his movements remain precise. Laskin shakes his head. "Even now, you don't stop." Sam answers with a tired half-smile. "They're still alive, so I'm still working." The aid station appears. Ahead, lanterns glow through the darkness, a cluster of tents beside a grove of eucalyptus trees. The regimental aid post. The truck slows, then stops. Dust drifts through the air like fine smoke. Medical orderlies rush forward, climbing onto the rear gate. "Who's critical?" one calls. Sam stands, gripping the wood to steady himself. He speaks clearly, every word deliberate. "Bell. Chest trauma. Decompressed. Needs oxygen. Turner. Abdominal wound. Sutured. Morphine half dose. Schuster. Leg wound. Moderate. Caruso. Minor. Lance Corporal Hensley. Head wound. Possible concussion." He continues listing each case, all 40-plus wounded, their injuries, treatments, and immediate needs. The orderlies look stunned. "You treated all of these?" one asks. Sam simply nods. Laskin mutters proudly, "With a bayonet and a sewing needle." Orderlies exchange glances. They don't question it. They don't have to. Inside the aid tent, Sam walks into the brightest tent, a canvas rectangle lit by two gasoline lanterns. It smells of antiseptic, sweat, iodine, and blood. A senior medical captain turns as Sam enters. "Where's the medical officer for your platoon?" Sam gestures behind him. "Gone. Artillery hit the team. It was just me." The captain blinks, stares, studies the young medic's torn uniform, his blood-blackened hands, his cracked lips. Then he simply says, "Sit." Sam shakes his head. "I need to help them." The captain steps closer, voice firm. "You've done more than any medic has the right to do. Sit." Sam hesitates, then sinks onto a stool. His body releases tension like a collapsing structure. A nurse begins cutting away the bloody sleeve from his shoulder. "Shrapnel wound?" she asks. Sam nods weakly. "Did you disinfect it?" Sam chuckles softly, almost delirious. "With iodine I stole back from the dead." The nurse freezes for a moment, not out of horror but respect. "You saved a lot of men," she says. Sam's eyes drift across the tent. Every stretcher holds a man he touched, stitched, bandaged, dragged, or carried. Turner, Bell, Hensley, Schuster, Corporal Art Woodbridge with the torn ear, Private Moran with the shattered forearm. Alive. They're alive. Sam's voice is barely a whisper. "They're here. They made it." The nurse places a firm hand on his shoulder. "They made it. Because of you. Sam opens his mouth to protest, but the words die, because he knows deep inside it's true. Without him, the platoon would have become a field of corpses under the Sicilian sun. The CO arrives. Footsteps. A shadow fills the tent entrance. Lieutenant Colonel Bruce Sutcliffe, commanding officer of the Hastings and Prince Edward Regiment. He surveys the scene, then finds Sam. He approaches slowly, boots crunching on gravel. "You, Halpern?" Sam stands, or tries to. His knees nearly fold. "Yes, sir." Sutcliffe studies him for a long, silent moment. "I've heard reports. 40-something wounded men. Triage, field surgery, stabilization, all done alone, under fire, with improvised tools." Sam swallows, throat raw. "I did what I could, sir." Sutcliffe corrects him quietly. "You did what no one else could." He reaches into his tunic pocket and removes a small leather notebook. "Your actions will be recorded formally, but before that..." He steps closer. "I want to say, as their commanding officer, and as a man, thank you." Sam tries to answer, but his breath catches. For the first time all day, tears fill his eyes. He wipes them quickly. "Sir," he whispers, "I just didn't want them to die alone." Sutcliffe nods. That's why they didn't. The platoon speaks. Outside, the wounded who can stand gather near the tent flap. Turner calls out, "Doc saved me." Bell raises a shaky hand. "Save me too." Caruso smirks. "He yelled at me until I didn't die." Hensley laughs painfully. "Doc patched us like old shirts and made us walk." The men's voices overlap. "Couldn't have made it without him. He carried me when I couldn't move. He never stopped. He didn't let any of us go." Sam looks away, overwhelmed. He wipes his eyes again. For the first time since the bombardment began, he lets his shoulders slump. The collapse. The nurse touches his arm gently. "You need rest, Private Halpern." Sam nods. His legs finally give out. Not dramatically, not violently, but like a tree whose roots have finally let go. The nurse and Reed catch him under the arms. As they lower him onto a clean cot, the lantern glow fades in his vision. Voices become muffled. Shapes blur. Warmth spreads through him, the warmth of exhaustion finally allowed. His last thought before sleep takes him is simple. They lived. And then, darkness. Not the darkness of shell craters or smoke, a peaceful darkness, a earned darkness. The quiet after heroism. Outside, Laskin stands guard. Breitling speaks with Sutcliffe. Turner sleeps without agony. Bell breathes evenly. The wounded platoon, stitched together with thread, hope, and madness, rests. They will fight another day. Because one medic refused to let death have them.